Attitude is very important for any social change. Social means any change in the society, like to bring about, like to abolish child marriage, to abolish caste system, all these things. We need attitudinal change. Why? Can anyone elaborate? Why attitude change is very important component? Pragna, good evening. Okay, let me explain this. What are the content of attitude? A, B, and C. Affect component, behavioral component, and cognition. Right? Cognition is with respect to your thoughts, your beliefs, your attributes. Behavior, past experiences, and future behavioral tendencies. Affect means to feelings and emotions. For any attitudinal change, there has to be change in the affect part, the behavior part, and also the cognition part. Right? So, when there is change in attitude, there will be change in the feelings, change in the emotions, change in your behavior. Say, for example, if you are told that child marriage is bad, caste system is bad, then it is just bringing change in your cognition, in your thought and belief, not with respect to your behavior and with respect to your affect component, that is your feelings and emotions. When you bring changes in the attitude, you will have changes in all these three. So, attitude is an all encompassing thing consisting of feelings, behavior, and thought. So, to bring about any social change, attitudinal change is most important, right? So, for any question with respect to social change, you have to have attitudinal change, right? Is this concept clear to you? Rational knowledge, emotion, ABC, holistic change. Yes. So the change will be holistic. If you just read about the bad effects of child marriage, you'll be having just cognition, just knowledge. Other components won't change. That is the reason why we have caste system till today. That is the reason why we have child marriage till today. We are not able to bring about changes in our attitude. Most of the programs previously with respect to sanitation were in this line. Total sanitation campaign, it was a failure. But Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was a successful story. It's a successful story to a greater extent. What are the main reasons? Because it acted on the attitude. It tried to change the attitude of the individual. Right? Okay. Let us move forward with yet another important topic, that is attitude, influence, and relation with thought and behavior. Please internalize this: attitude relation with thought and behavior. This is a very, very deep concept. Until and unless you internalize the things, it is very difficult for you to have the grasp of the things. Can you imagine or can you explain me how these are related? Try. You have to go to the components. Attitudes are made up of A, B, and C. Your thought is nothing but your cognition and your behavior, right? Since behavior and cognition are components of attitude, don't you think definitely they are related and they influence attitude? Similarly, your attitude is also influenced by these factors, right? It's a two-way thing. Behavior influence attitude, attitude influence behavior. Cognition influence attitude, attitude influence cognition. This is the crux, nothing more than this. If you are clear with this concept, all the explanations that I'll be giving will be crystal clear to you. Thought and behavior influence attitude, and attitude influence thought and behavior. Right? Moving forward, let us see one by one. We have got ABC components, right? I'll explain all these things, how they are related to each other. Affective responses and the relation to attitude. Affective response means our feelings, our emotions. They affect attitude in two ways. One, due to affective reactions aroused. Number one. Number two, pairing affirmative information. Affirmative information means that information which arouses emotions, that arouses feelings. Means you are pairing with something which is arousing some feeling, some emotion. Two ways in which these are related is one, due to affective reactions, means the feelings, the emotions which you get. Say for example, cockroaches. Say for example, spiders. Say for example, snake. A bucket full of snake. Don't you feel something will happen when you imagine those things? There will be some affective reaction. These affective reactions relate to attitude. You're scared of cockroaches. You're scared of cockroaches. Then, will you have positive attitude or will you have negative? P or N? What is your answer? You have got, you're scared of cockroaches. That is the affective feeling. Then, what will be the thing? Will you have positive attitude or negative? Negative. Great. It is cognition based. Is it cognition based attitude? I didn't get your question, Suman. Okay. Due to affective reactions that arose. Let me explain, let me elaborate this. Due to affective reactions that are aroused in the individual after the exposure to the attitudinal object, affective responses impact attitude. Example, spiders may make many feel scared. These negative affective responses are likely to produce negative attitude towards spiders, right? Similarly, if there are some things which are producing positive effect, positive response, then the attitude will also be positive. Clear? Any doubt with respect to this point? How affect and attitude are related? Is this clear to you? Okay. Moving forward, next. Pairing affective information. Pairing. Here they are pairing affective information with an attitudinal object. Sorry. Pairing affective information with an attitudinal object can produce a positive or negative attitude. I will explain these things. This can happen in three ways: classical or Pavlovian conditioning, or subliminal pairing, priming, mere exposure effect. Let us take one by one. In pairing, what is happening? They are pairing something to something which is arousing a feeling. This may be negative or positive. The classical example is with respect to the dog and the food. Here, food is unconditional stimuli for dog, right? Agreed? Food is unconditional stimuli. Whenever the dog sees the food, it likes it. A, a feel good thing will be aroused in the dog. That is natural. But before giving the food, this is the dog and this is your food. Before you give food, there is a bell. Every time before you give food, you ring this bell. So this feeling what dog has for food, the same feeling dog will be having for bell, right? Please internalize the thing. Bell is a conditional stimuli. By pairing food and bell, means you are giving food only after the bell rings. The attitude the dog has on food will be equal to the attitude on bell, right? Is the concept clear to you? Any doubt with respect to this thing? But intensity of feeling might be different. Don't go for the exception. Come to the concept. Will there be attitudinal change or not? Will the attitude will be affected or not? Because these are very in-depth concepts. These are very subjective. Don't try to go to in-depth. Right? Is this clear? Is this example clear? So why I'm stressing this is, if you want to bring change, you have to pair. Let me give some other example. Attraction for opposite sex and perfume. Here, what are the advertisement people doing? They are pairing our natural attraction for opposite sex for perfumes, eggs, any other deodorant, or anything. What they will do? They will combine these two. Generally, what we see in the ads, there will be something like a pub or something. So a strong man, 6-pack, 7 feet, 6 feet person will be there, and there won't be any girl or anyone around. But there comes a lean man, but around him, all the girls will be there. Why? He is using that perfume. Here, they are pairing something which is natural, the attraction for opposite sex, which is natural, with something which is not natural, perfume. So here they are trying to bring the same attitude, the same attraction what you have for opposite sex for the perfume, right? Next, doctor and also glamorous star giving toothpaste ad. Here the toothpaste is like same. Toothpaste is same. Toothpaste works better. It works for 12 hours. 12 hours. Then in the ad, who will be there? Doctor will be there. Why? Because we have got some feeling towards doctor as a person who looks after the people, who cures the sick. The same toothpaste ad, if it is for glamour, say for example, teeth, shining teeth, then generally there won't be doctor. There will be a glamorous star, Deepika Padukone, right? This is what is known as pairing, right? Moving forward to the next one, That is subliminal pairing. What is this subliminal pairing means? Brief exposure below the threshold necessary for conscious decoding. Means you are not exposing to the highest time or to the maximum time required for your brain to work as to what is that. So you are not giving that time. That is subliminal priming. Let me explain this. Participants were presented with a series of pictures for unfamiliar persons. Participants were presented with pictures of unfamiliar person means those pictures which they have not seen in their life, unfamiliar. Before that, each picture was preceded by an affect arousing image. The picture is that which is not seen by these people. But before they show this picture, they are putting some affect arousing things. Say, for example, a bucket full of snakes. Bucket full of snakes. They're showing bucket full of snakes. After that, they're showing this individual. It was found that though the person is not familiar, the people who saw the unfamiliar person after bucket full of snakes, they had negative attitude towards this person. In the other case, the same picture was preceded by two young couples, two lovebirds, or two kittens. Then the attitude with respect to this person was positive, right? Next, moving to the same thing, a bucket full of snake or a pair of kittens. That was the thing, right? Then mere exposure. Here, one important concept which you have to internalize is the same again with respect to ad. Why often we have some ads repeating time and again, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, the same ad will be there. Or these ads different? No, same ad they are repeating. Why they are repeating? It is said that mere exposure of any object to a greater extent or to a greater number of times will have positive attitude. Different types of unfamiliar stimuli. Example, various Chinese characters. Chinese characters will be something like this. So, like we don't know what are these characters. These are symbolic. Were presented to participants on certain number of times. Stimuli that have been presented many times is liked more. Right? If one Chinese character is shown 5 times, the chances of liking that or having positive attitude towards that is more compared to if it is shown once or twice. These are the three ways in which your affective responses are related to attitude. Right? Then moving forward with respect to okay, the ads, the same thing what I have told. More frequent ads is equal to more like. Similarly, we often listen to many melodious songs, especially the classical songs. One of the reasons is more exposed. You have been hearing for a long time. That is the reason you like them, right? Behavior and attitude. Here, behavior and attitude interact in three types. One is with respect to weak and ambiguous attitudes, according to Ben's self-perception theory. Second, with respect to strong attitudes. Third, behaviors influence attitude in a more direct way, directly. There we'll deal with shaking of hand, shaking of head, arm flexing, arm extension. Let us see one by one, right? With respect to weak attitude, then self-perception. It says that individuals often do not know their own attitude. This is with respect to weak attitude. They have to engage in attributional reasoning to infer their attitudes from their own behavior. Means to say that, say for example, if I ask, what is your attitude towards nuclear energy? Then you're not clear as to what is your attitude is. Then what you will do? You will engage in attributional reasoning. Means you go in depth, analyzing your own thoughts, your own deeds, your own behavior, and attributing your attitude to your Dear students, am I audible and visible to you now? Just ping me. There was a, okay. Sorry for that. There was some network issue. Right? With respect to weak attitudes, you won't be having a fair idea as to what is your attitude is. Right? Moving forward, with respect to behavior and strong attitude. Here, people can change their attitude. Please internalize this line. People can change their attitude in order to be consistent with the behavior that they have performed. What does this mean? Say, for example, I have killed someone, I have stolen something, or I am not reading properly. So what the people do? They change their attitude in order to be consistent with the behavior that they have performed. If they have killed someone, they change their attitude towards saying that killing is not bad. Positive attitude towards killing, positive attitudes towards stealing. Positive attitude towards not preparing well, being lazy, right? In case of weak attitudes, you exactly don't know what is your attitude. By reasoning, you will come to know what is your attitude. But in case of strong attitude, you change your attitude in order to be consistent with the behavior which you have already performed, right? So anything that this is what happening in most cases. Say for example, if you are not reading, you change the attitude. You think that okay, like not reading now is not a bad thing. We need some rest, things like that, right? Behavior influence attitude in a more direct way. How in a more direct way? Let me explain this. Headphone. This is a classical example. In this, what the experimenter did was he gave headset to the participant. Headphone manufacturer was interested in determining how headphone perform when people do some physical activity. Say for example, when they are dancing, they wanted to see how the headset works. In all the headset, the music was same, all the headsets were same. Participants were asked to do two things. One set of participants were asked to do their head either in up and down motion, nodding the head like this. Others sideward. Those people who were shaking their head means sideward, they told that the headset was not that good. They told that the content or the music that was there was not that good. Please catch the point here. Here you have got one behavior. See, this is a behavior of S, isn't it? If someone says, if someone says, will you agree? What will be your gesture? You will say, yes, yes, I agree. So you are listening to the music, doing like this. So you got positive attitude. On the other hand, you may say, no, 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 it's not good. You're doing like this and you're listening. Then you got negative attitude. So dear student, your behavior should be such that it brings about positive attitude towards the things which are desirable. So please do have a good behavior. Right? The other example, similar example. Here, while viewing a variety of unfamiliar Chinese pictures, participants were asked to engage in either arm flexing and arm extension. Arm flexing and arm extension means you are seeing the Chinese characters. In one side, you are saying, one set of people they are saying like a gesture which says, no, go away. Other set of people they are saying. So here, people who are arm flexing like this, they had positive attitude towards the unfamiliar Chinese picture. See this, they got positive because they were involved in positive behavior, right? Thought and attitude, conscious consideration and stereotypes. Here, with respect to the thought and cognition, we have got three types. One is with respect to conscious consideration, another is stereotype, and another is belief. In conscious consideration, we take into consideration all the things, plus, negative, everything, neutral things. After evaluating everything, we'll take the decision. Say, for example, when you buy a new bike, you are mostly carried away by the conscious considerations like the mileage, right? The maintenance. All these things have a bearing on attitude. When you are considering all these things, if these things are positive, then you will be having positive attitude. Next is with respect to stereotypes. We often say that certain group of people are aggressive. These stereotypes are generalization. Stereotypes are generalization, oversimplification, oversimplification of the things. These two affect your attitude. Similarly, your beliefs. What you believe good, what you believe right influences that. In fact, your religion is just belief system, right? It's just belief. Whether it is right, wrong, nobody can question. In this way, your thought affects your attitude, right? So these are the ways in which your thought, your behavior, and your affect component are connected to attitude. Then one important thing is with respect to attitude and behavior. The question here is, when do attitude predict the behavior? Please note this. This is the most important. The previous thing was just a theory. We have discussed the content, the structure, and the function of attitude, and the relation of attitude with thought and behavior. The questions have not come from this area. But this topic, like when do attitudes predict behavior, is very important, especially in case studies. Your attitude, say for example, positive attitude. The positive attitude determines the corresponding behavior when there is correspondence between attitudinal and behavioral measures. What does this mean? Means while measuring attitudinal things and also behavioral things, there should be a correspondence. There should be some equality. There should be some common parameters. Let me give you an example. In 1930s, a Chinese couple was asked to visit the restaurants in America. Asked to visit restaurants in America. This Chinese couple were accompanied by an American professor. In all the restaurants, they allowed this Chinese couple and also they treated them well. But this professor sent a questionnaire after some time, asking a question. That question was, will you allow Chinese couple in your restaurant or hotel? The answer was no, we won't allow Chinese people. In fact, it was at the peak of World War, Second World War. They said no. To the questionnaires, they said no. But in reality, it was different. The difference was because there was no correspondence between the attitudinal and behavioral measures. How? See, here in one case, with respect to behavioral measures, what is happening is, here an American professor is with the Chinese couple, and the Chinese couple are well dressed. So the question would have been, will you allow a well-dressed Chinese couple accompanied by American professor in your hotel? Right? So there has to be correspondence between the measures. Otherwise, attitude cannot predict the behavior. Next, it depends upon the domain of the behavior. Means the main subject of the behavior. In this, I have already given this example. You have got positive attitude towards blood donation. You have got positive attitude towards organ donation, but you have not donated. Means attitude is positive, but we are not able to predict the behavior. What is that behavior? Donating blood, donating organs. The domain also matters in predicting the behavior. Let me give another example. Voting behavior. Voting behavior. I have positive attitude towards Modi. I have got positive attitude towards Modi. Or I have got positive attitude towards Rajiv Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, or Rahul Gandhi. My question is, can we predict the behavior in this case? Can we predict the behavior in this case? The person who likes Modi ji, do you think he will vote for Modi ji? Will he? Shiv Kumar is saying no. Depends. Okay, let me elaborate here. Here, what I'm saying is with respect to domain. Domain is also important in predicting the behavior. With respect to some domains like blood donation and organ donation, we cannot predict. But when it comes to things like water behavior, generally we can predict. Those who love Modi, definitely they vote for Modi. Right? So domain is also important. Third, attitude is strong and occupies central place in the attitudinal system. We have studied simplicity and complexity. We took up the example of health and well-being. In this, for youth, their central attitude is with respect to physical aspect, physics. So this, to a greater extent, predicts whether a person will join something related to the physical things. Let me make this example clear to you. Say, for example, you are staying in an area. There are four things which are offered free for you. One is gym, and another is your meditation, and another is laughing clubs, happiness, and another is with respect to other things of well-being. As a youth, as a teenager, which section or which area you will choose? As a teenager, generally they will go to gym because that is the central attitude. For the elderly person, the central attitude is with respect to mental peace. So you may join meditation and yoga class. Right? Next, there is very little or no external pressure for the person to behave in a particular way. This is very important. If there is any external pressure, your attitude cannot predict your behavior. Because of that pressure, the behavior will be different. A person's behavior is not being watched or evaluated. In the house, there is no one. You are alone. You are what you are when nobody is watching, when nobody is evaluating. Right? Next, when the person thinks that the behavior would have a positive consequence, when you think there will be positive consequences, you almost always engage in that behavior. However, people's behavior and their attitudes may differ when the above factors are not available. Right? Fourth point. Okay. There is very little or no external pressure for the person to behave in a particular way. Say, for example, you are having a positive attitude towards child marriage. Please concentrate. Positive attitude towards child marriage. You have got positive attitude towards caste system. Means you say that according to you, caste system is good, child marriage is good. But will you say these things in public, in your school, with your friends? No, because there is external pressure. Because of this external pressure, your attitude cannot predict your behavior. Because of this pressure, you act as though you oppose child marriage. Right? Is this clear to you? Shiv Kumar. When there is some external pressure, we cannot predict the behavior based on the attitude what we have. If we don't have the external pressure, to a greater extent, we can. Okay. Right? So now another important thing, social influence. What is social influence? So I have given you one key. Social means society. How society influences your attitude. Think how society influences that. In what ways? Excuse me. Social influence and persuasion are very important. Religion, social norms, and stereotype influence attitude. Okay, great. Any other answer? How society influences your attitude. Okay, I'll explain that point. Now concentrate on this concept. Social influence, societal influence. Our attitudes are influenced by the real or imagined presence of other people. This is known as social influence. The process through which our attitudes are influenced by the society. Here, very important thing, most often student they overlook, that is the imagined presence. Let me give you an example. You are singing a song. Number one, like there is no external pressure, nothing. You are singing on your own in your house, nobody is there. Second, you are singing, you are recording to upload that on YouTube. Don't you feel you have got some effect there? The society is influencing there. Yes. Well, we go outside, we look out and we see whether we are looking good or not, what dress we are wearing. Why? Because society influences the things. Right? So please internalize this definition. The process whereby our attitudes are influenced by the real and imagined presence of other people or society. So two important words here. Our attitudes influenced, next by society. Influence or attitude by the society is known as social influence. Let me elaborate this thing. Here, one more definition. This is also important. This is given in NCERT, where they have added one more word, process whereby our attitudes and behaviors are influenced by real or imagined presence of other people. So You can add one more word, the behavior. If you just write the process whereby our attitudes are influenced, it would be more than sufficient. But in NCERT, they have added this also. So please do write this also in the exam. One more example for imagine part. I didn't get your one more example for imagine part. Okay, that thing. Whatever we do, in fact, everything to a greater extent is imagination itself. We imagine this may happen, this may be present. With respect to many things, in fact, it doesn't happen. With respect to our clothing, with respect to we going on YouTube live, all these things we can take as an example, right? Moving forward, social influence can be seen. All these things, like the concept will be clear when we take up the examples one by one. Social influence can be seen in conformity, compliance, obedience, peer pressure, socialization, leadership, persuasion, salesmanship, and marketing skills. These are all the things, all the areas where social influence is present, right? Influence can be seen in all these areas. Let us examine some of the important things. Here, I would take up some of the important things which are given in NCERT. These are given in your NCERT book. Main types of social influence are conformity. I'll give one word, means conforming to the group norms. Conforming to the group norms is conformity. Compliance, complying, means agreeing to some external pressure or even request is known as compliance. In compliance means you are agreeing because of some request or some external pressure. On the other hand, obedience. Here, social influence, obedience because of people in authority. Obedience because of authority. Conformity. We agree to the group norms. Let me explain this with a simple example. Say, for example, this is the class of 100. Class of 100. Here, all the students are signing a letter in which they said that we should be allowed to bring mobile phones. The college has banned bringing mobile phones. Students are not allowed to bring mobile phones. So students are writing a letter requesting that there are many problems, all these things. So students should be allowed to use the mobile in class premises, school premises, college premises. Almost 90 students have signed the thing. You are the next one. What will you do? Will you sign or not? Don't go for the exception. See, in fact, even in physics, in chemistry, we have got exceptions. Why? Due to social pressure. You can say social influence. You are wearing certain kind of dress. Why? Like, why? Why, say for example, why boys generally don't wear the dresses which are meant for girls? Why? Because conformity to the social norms. On the other hand, girls many times wear dresses which were previously meant for boys. Say for example, shirt, pant. This is also in conformity with the things which are happening. So conformity means just conforming or agreeing to the group norms. Compliance means complying or agreeing to some external pressure or request. Obedience here with respect to an authority. Let me explain these things in a systematic way. Right? Conformity means behaving according to group norms. The line which you have to internalize is conformity means behaving according to the group norms. That is the expectations of the other group members. Example, the workers. In many industries, in many organizations, workers are not allowed to work too much and also they are not allowed to work too little. The group, the union has some norm. They follow that. Students also, they accept the group norms. I have given the example of signing. This is known as conformity. On the other hand, the question is, why do people follow group norms? Why? Why do people follow group norms? Why you are wearing certain kind of dress? As a boy, why you are not no, why you are not wearing like salwar kameez or skirt? Why boys are not wearing that? Will anybody kill a boy if he wears skirt? No. The only punishment they may face is that a displeasure of the group being perceived as different. Next question is, tendency to follow a group norm is natural or spontaneous. Why? Fear of being excluded. Okay. It is not practiced. Why? Why boys don't wear skirt? Nobody will kill them. Just they will say this person like circuit or different, something like that. Tradition, social norms. Okay, right, very good. Social embarrassment. Okay, let me explain this. First, norms represent set of unwritten rules or informal rules of behavior. Whether you are a worker or a student, these norms are the rules of the group. They have to be obeyed. It tells what is expected, makes the whole situation very clear. Not just say, these are the things you have to do. These are the rules. These are unwritten informal rules. Means you have to follow them. Right? Here they are, the only difference is they are not written. They are informal. Second one, in this regard, in general, people feel uncomfortable if they are considered different from others. Don't you feel like that? If they consider you as something very different, in general, people feel very uncomfortable. Like, like almost, it is very, very strong in case of societies where tradition is given more importance. Or say, for example, in a tribe, this is very, very important. The exclusion of an individual from the tribe means almost exclusion of that individual from the whole world. Here, you'll be thinking what people might say. Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. But there is some social pressure there. Right? Moving forward, a norm is seen as reflecting the views and beliefs of majority. Norm is seen as the reflections of the views and beliefs of the majority. Most people believe that majority is more likely to be right. The quiz shows in television, you have got options like phone a friend, 50-50, then audience poll. So it is found that Even the well-educated, well-read person generally goes with the audience. Generally. Why? Because they feel that majority is more likely to be right. He may be a scientist. He may be a person who has read the things for long, but he feels that majority is right. The example is the quiz shows. It is proved in many like experiments. In most of the quiz shows, to a greater extent, they go with the majority, audience vote. They go with the majority, right? Then autokinetic effect. This is an important example for conformity. Please give due attention here. Autokinetic effect by Sharif. Let me explain this. Sharif conducted a series of experiments to demonstrate how how groups form their norms. To demonstrate how groups form their norms and the members make their judgment according to this norm. The participants were seated in a dark room. In a dark room, the participants were seated and asked to concentrate on a point of light, here. After watching this point of light, each person was asked to estimate the distance through which the point has moved. All are sitting in a dark place and there is a point of light. The participants were asked to estimate the distance this point moved, this way or this way. This kind of judgment had to be made over a number of trials. After each trial, the group was given information about the average distance judged by the members. Many trials were conducted, and after each trial, the group was given the information about the average distance judged by the members. It was observed that on subsequent trials, the subjects modified their judgment in a way that made them more similar to the average. So here, what exactly happened is, the interesting aspect of this experiment was that the point of light actually did not move at all. The light was only seen as moving by the participants. Therefore, the effect has been called autokinetic. Auto means self. Auto means self. Kinetic means motion. Means autokinetic. Means the point of light is not moving in reality. It is moving in the brain, in the mind of the individual. Autokinetic effect. Yet, in response to the instructions from the experimenter, the participants not only judged the distance of light moved, but also created a norm for this distance. Right? Is this experiment clear to you? Right. Let me just brief the thing. Here the participants were made to sit. Here there was a point of light. In fact, there was only one individual on which the experiment was done. All were the confidants of the experimenter. They were told to tell some things. Okay, all the people, say for example, there are 7 people here. You are the only one here. All the 6 are saying that light moved 5 centimeters. After each trial, the average is given. Okay, 5 centimeters it has moved. According to you, the light has not moved. But all are saying that light has moved. So it was found that over the period, over the trials, you modify what to conform to the group norms. Right? Compliance. Here in compliance, as I said, in conformity, there is no external pressure, no external pressure. You are conforming to the group norms on your own. On the other hand, in complaints, there are two things. One is external pressure or at least some request, right? Let me elaborate these things. In complaints, there are external conditions that force the individual to accept the influence of the significant other. External conditions that force the individuals to accept the influence of significant. This may also be with respect to in a request. Compliance also refers to behaving in a particular way in response to a request made by something. The example given in the NCERT book is that of the kind of behavior shown when a salesperson comes to your door. Here, what does this person do? He makes a request. Madam, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a graduate. This is some work, some project work. So I just want to demonstrate it. You're not interested in fact, but you complain. That is complaint. Why do people complain? Why do people complain? Why? Why people complain to some external pressure or some request? Think. Okay, I'll give another example for complaints. Say, for example, you are riding a bicycle or something like that, right? Some group of people come and they say, sir, we are fighting for fighting against climate change. There is a small sticker. We want to paste that on your bike. On your bike. There's a big group. The chances of you agreeing are very high. Why? Because person and social values. Any other answer? Dear students, simple common sense thing. In many situations, this happens because it is a easy way out of situation. Easy way out. And it is more polite and other party is also pleased. When the salesperson comes, in fact, it is in fact the easy way. Otherwise, you won't leave. And it is more polite. Other party won't all be pleased. You won't be hurt. So what are the techniques you have to use when you want to complain someone? When someone wants another person to complain, what are the methods? What are the techniques? Request. Okay, great. Other, what are the other methods? So these are very important. This you can apply in your day-to-day activities also. One important is foot in door technique. Foot in door technique means don't, there is no need for you to remember this. Just remember what is the crux. The person begins by making a small request that the other person is not likely to refuse. Can you give an example for this? Start with a small request. In fact, you want that bigger thing, but you start with a small request. First, begin with small. Like, say for example, you want to go to your friend's house and stay there for one night. So first, what you will say, Mummy, like my friend Raghu has got very good material, but he is not ready to give that. So I want to go to his house and study with him. So mother says, okay, go. Before leaving, he makes another thing. If I stay there, I can make the best use of the best, I can make the best out of the time. Then the chances are high. The other example, with respect to the salesperson, begins by making a small request that the other person is not likely to refuse. Requesting a friend to quit smoking. No, it's not possible. So here, make a small thing. Say for example, here there is a boy. He is in love with a girl. If this boy goes and says, I love you, I like you, all these things, what will be the response? Generally, the response will be, who are you? Isn't it? Isn't it? So suddenly, if you make a big thing like love, marriage, all these things, they may not agree. So begin with small. I'm also studying in the same section. I'm also in the same area or something like that. Can we be friends? Small request. Okay, they may say, okay, friends. So the intention is something different, but they're beginning with a small one, right? Requesting for giving something from S. Did you get this? So, dear students, you also apply this. If you want to get something big, start with something small that they cannot say no, right? Say, for example, if you need 1,000 rupees, begin with 10 rupees. Afterwards, gradually, 10 rupees is not sufficient. If you give 100, it will be good, like that. Next is deadline technique. If deadlines are put, complaints is high. That is the reason always in Amazon, there will be always a time. You are left with this much in time, this much time. End of season sale, clock clearance sale. So by putting deadlines, there are high chances of complaints. Tax filing deadlines, yes. Then door in face technique. Door in face technique. Here, the opposite of the foot in door. See, imagine foot in door means think that imagine old movies. How the robber comes to your house. First he puts leg. Afterwards, so first small one. Here, on the other hand, ask for something very big. They say no. Then you ask for something small that they can't refuse. With respect to the salesmen, once again, they'll show you something. Madam, this is Japan made. Madam, this has got a lot of technology, all these things. The original cost is 10,000. I am giving just for 1,000 rupees. Many ladies say no. Then he removes one device from his bag. Madam, this is the latest technology. This is juice maker. Just for 5 minutes, you can make juice, lemon juice. Just squeeze this, do like this, 5 rupees, madam. Please do take this. Many often take. If if they don't take the bigger one, they at least take this. So these are the methods you have to use to complain someone. Obedience. Here, with respect to obedience, let us take a class. Here, think of three situations. The classroom is same. Number one, like in the class, all are making noise, shouting, making noise. One of your friends, student says, hey, dear friend, please don't make noise. What will be the effect? Number one. Second, the monitor, the class leader, he goes near the board, takes a piece of chalk and says, if someone makes noise, I will write your name on the board. The second one. Third one, the teacher himself or herself. Ask the students not to make noise. In which case, the students respond positively. 3, 2, or 1. In which case, they respond 3. Why? Why? This is because authority. This is because authority. We obey to police people. Why? Authority. The same, say if someone comes and says, dear, why you are not wearing helmet? Your life is very precious. Not only you, you have to think about your family. Will you agree to his word? No. On the other hand, if the police person asks the same question, the things will be different. Distinguishing feature of obedience is that such behavior is a response to a person in authority. It's just here one important thing is obedience and compliance are to a greater extent we can correlate. In compliance, there is a request, there is a external pressure, but they are not having authority. You can say that compliance plus authority is equal to obedience. If the request is made by the person or the external pressure is by a person who is having authority, authority is equal to power plus legitimacy. I have explained this. Okay. The distinguishing feature of obedience is that such behavior is in response to a person in authority. Right? When compliance is shown to an instruction or order from a person in authority, such as parents, teachers, leaders, or policemen, that behavior is obedience. Let me explain this with a Milgram experiment. This is a very famous experiment. Let me explain this. Teacher is authorized person to punish if not followed the order. Okay. Here, this is the experiment. E is the experimenter, is the experimenter. T is the teacher. L is the learner. Here, the teacher is asking some questions. If the learner gives wrong answer, shock will be given. Shock will be given. Here, the teacher can give shock to the extent that a person becomes unconscious. Right? In fact, in reality, the thing was, this person, learner, is a confidant of the experimenter. And in fact, there is no shock at all. No shock treatment at all. But this person, the confidant of the experimenter, is acting. Say, for example, 1 wrong means 5-volt shock. 2 wrongs, 10, like that. This person, the participant, he went to the extent of giving shock till this person fainted, fell down. Why? Because he feels that he is the teacher, he is the authority. In fact, there was no shock at all. He was just acting. What made this person, just an experiment person who is participating in an experiment, to take a stand, to give a shock to the extent of fainting? That is authority. Similarly, there is also one more experiment. In this experiment, they divided the people into 2 groups. One is police, another prisoners. Both are in the experiment. Nobody is police in reality and nobody is a criminal in reality. But the person to whom you have assigned the designation of police, he went to the extent of beating these people, thrashing these people. At the same time, these people, prisoners who are like supposed to act as prisoners, they in fact accepted the punishments. So here the crux is authority. Then the next question is, why obedience? Why obedience? All of you like answer this question. Let me just brief the things for you. Obedience. Why? If we disobey, some punishment might follow. We believe that the person in authority must be obeyed. If you disobey, some punishment. If you don't listen to your father, if you don't listen to your mother, if you don't listen to your teacher, some punishment will be there. You have grown up. Now they cannot physically punish you, but they can punish you in other way. Example, pocket money. So you obey them. Not only that, you believe that these people in authority must be obeyed. The people in authority have effective means of enforcing the orders. Father, teacher, policeman, they have effective means. If you don't obey, they have the means to make you obey. That is the reason why you are obeying. People obey because they feel that they are not responsible for their own actions. They are simply carrying out the orders of the authority. Authority generally possesses the symbols of status, uniform, title. Authority gradually increases the command from lesser to greater level. And initial obedience binds the followers from commitment. First, they will ask you to do small things, small punishment, or things like that. Afterwards, it goes on increasing. Not only that, just the symbols of uniform and title make you obey. Right? Now, think it over. This is very important. Conformity, compliance, and obedience. What is the difference? Conformity, compliance, and obedience. What is the similarity? There are some similarities and also there are some differences. Can you guess? Can you guess here? What are the similarities? What are the differences? Okay. Obeying to group. Okay. Then similar social norms. Okay. All leads to attitudinal change. Great. Okay. In line with the things, conformity, compliance, and obedience. This we are discussing under the topic of social influence. Social influence, which is having direct social influence, more social influence. 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, 3, which is having direct social influence. Among these, 1, 2, and 3, conformity, compliance, and obedience. 1, 2, 3. 4 is not there. Otherwise, 1, 2, 3, 4 would have also come. Okay. Please give due attention here. Okay, all. Okay, all will have, which is having more effect, which has got more influence. Here, all the three indicate the influence of others on the individual's behavior. Right? Many of you have told, Krishna Nayak has told, all are having this influence on others. Obedience is the most direct and explicit form of social influence. It's direct and explicit. On the other hand, compliance is less direct than obedience, because someone has requested and thus you comply. Here the probability of refusal is there. See, like I know, well, like when you said 1, What was there in your mind? Here, not with respect to following the things. What I am asking is how society influence, where societal influence is more, where it is direct, explicit. Conformity is more indirect form. You are conforming because you do not want to deviate from the norm. Means in conformity, there is less social pressure, less social influence. This you are doing on your own. You are complying, right? Is this clear? Is there anyone who disagree with this? Right? So obedience is direct. Obedience is direct and explicit. Compliance is indirect. Conformity is more indirect form compared to all this. Another important thing with respect to most standard books, that is the things which are given by one of the most prominent person, they say authority in this area, that is Herbert Coleman. Herbert Coleman, according to him, there are three things. They are compliance, identification, and internalization. Very important, please internalize the things. Compliance is when people appear to agree with others, but actually keep their dissenting opinions private. Isn't it very important? People appear to agree, but they have disagreement. They keep in private. Here, one important thing is there is change in behavior. There is change in behavior, but not change in attitude. Right? So in compliance, you are complying to some external pressure. You are agreeing to some external request. By agreeing, you have changed your behavior, but your attitude has not changed. Right? Next, identification is when people are influenced by someone who is liked and respected, such as famous celebrities. Say, for example, like when I was like child, Sanjay Dutt. Sanjay Dutt for the first time came with long hairs. They identified themselves with Sanjay Dutt. Many, say for example, Virat Kohli. He started living beard. Many of his fans who identified, who respected, who liked him, followed because they identified themselves with that person. Internalization is the other thing. This happens when people accept a belief or a behavior and agree both publicly and privately. Here, you are internalizing, you are believing on your own. You have made these things as part of the belief system, part of you. Is when people accept a belief or behavior and agree with both publicly and privately. That is internalization. Let me elaborate this further. Third one happens over a period of time. Like all the things, it takes time, but in third wise internalization, it may take even suddenly or over a period of time. It depends on how you get the things. Right? See here. Now let us discuss these three with respect to attitudinal change. Compliance. Compliance is an act of responding favorably to an explicit or implicit request offered by others. Here, compliance is a change in behavior, but not then not necessarily the attitude. You have just complied to a request, some external thing. Your behavior might have changed, not your attitude. According to Coleman, the satisfaction derived from compliance is due to the social effect of the accepting influence. That is, people comply for an expected reward or punishment aversion. People just comply to see that they are not punished or other things. Right? Next, moving forward with respect to identification. Identification is changing of attitudes or behaviors due to influence of someone who is admired. Maybe Virat Kohli, right? Similarly, these are the things which are taken care by your people in advertisement industry. Advertisement that rely upon celebrity endorsement to market their product are taking advantage of this phenomenon. I have given the example of even soft drinks. In southern India, thumbs up was not that popular. Superstars like Chiranjeevi, Mahesh Babu, all when they endorse this thing, the sale went very high because they identified themselves with the person whom they like. Next is with respect to yes, internalization. Here, sorry, some external link got internalization is the process of accepting. Internalization is a process of accepting. It's a process of acceptance of a set of norms established by people or groups that are influential to the individual. Individual accepts the influence because the content of the influence accepted is intrinsically rewarding to him. He's internalizing the things because it is rewarding internally. In fact, it was the thing which he was expecting. He was in line with that. It is congruent with the individual value system. When do you internalize some things? When the things are in congruence, when you accept, when you agree. Otherwise, no. So in fact, these are some of the extra things. Since I felt like this can be used in your case study, I have mentioned these things. Okay. Social influence means attitude isn't change. Right? Any doubt with respect to these things? If you have got any doubt, please let me know. What is social influence? Please give me one word or two words. What is social influence? Got a message unable to read. Okay, I'll one message. What is social influence? Society influence. Great, good. What is it influencing? What is it influencing? It is influencing your attitude. Attitude is the correct word than behavior because in attitude you have behavior, right? Influenced by real or imagined presence on your attitude. Great, our attitude. Right? So this is a very simple concept. The things will be clear when you take up examples, especially in case studies. So these are the things with respect to social influence. All the things. here I think the slides are repeated. Let me just remove them. Okay. Persuasion. What do you understand by persuasion? Pursuing. Is it easy to pursue? Is it easy to pursue? No, no, not manipulating. Persuasion is not manipulating. What is persuasion? When you pursue someone, what you are doing? Persuasion. Let me give you an example for this. Trying to impress. Not exactly. Not forcing. Persuasion is not forcing, in fact. Convincing. Okay. To a greater extent, convincing. Trying hard to make someone to comply or agree. Oh, great. Tried. Kumar, great. Okay. Instead of going to that, let me just give you some example. Persuasion. One, civil service preparation. What to read? What to read? You are in confusion. There are many advices given. One given by first ranker. One given by first ranker. Second given by the person like 200 rank. Third given by a person like who did not clear. In which case you will be persuaded more? In which case? 1, 2, 3. In which case you will be persuaded more? One. Why? Why one? Okay. I'll give another example. See, think that there is a dark, complex person. There are two people who advise him some cream. Some cream. A is a very fair complexion person. He says that you please use this cream, you will become fair. He is a dark complex person. Another is B. He is also a dark complex person. He says that, see, I was also dark. I used this cream, so I got fair. So the chances of you getting persuaded with similarity are very high. Similarity. No message. The rank means more valuable at. Yes, that is a social proof. He has already proved the things. He is the authority in the subject. Right? So, okay. This persuasion is in fact a very big concept, very important concept. If you start now, it will be halfway done. So I'll wind up the session here for now. Tomorrow I'll take up the persuasion. Right? I'll take up the class tomorrow with persuasion, and I'll try to come up with some examples also. Here, with respect to ethics, giving examples is very, very difficult. Very difficult. In fact, you also, if there are things given in the standard books or somewhere, you please refer. You please mention them. Don't try to give your own examples until and unless they ask. Right? Having said that, I thank you one and all. I'll conclude the session for now. Enjoy your preparation. Just enjoy your preparation. Success is yours. Right? Thank you.